Are you the parent or grandparent of a high school student who's looking to attend college in the next 2 years? Does the deluge of information coming at you leave you somewhat confused or potentially frustrated? Today, I'm going to introduce you to my key college funding data card. This reference piece is designed to help us learn more about what we need to do to plan for your child or grandchild's college education. Now, to access this data card, you can find a link in the comments section below. Over the next 20 minutes or so, we'll be discussing several steps you and your loved one should consider, such as applying for FAFSA, confusion about awards letters, appealing aid letters, and tax credits and more. There's also a space to write any notes that affect the issues we've described. Let's get started. If you've not attended one of my webinars before, then welcome. If this is not your first, then welcome back. I'm Tim Gardner, founder and wealth manager at Chatham Retirement Partners. We provide wealth management services to the sandwich generation, just without all the baloney. If you're not familiar with the term sandwich generation, these are individuals or couples who are planning to send a kid to college, trying to save for their own retirement, and facing the possibility of needing to help a family member or loved one in their later years. I do this specific presentation because for over my last 3 decades of helping families like yours see through the confusion of planning to pay for college, I've seen both personally and professionally that planning, finding, and paying for college can be far less stressful than all the horror stories that you hear. I'll admit, college planning can be a stressful process. There are many decisions to make, deciding when to apply, ultimately, where to attend. Yet, understanding critical concepts around college funding can help make the process a whole lot easier. Before you can start planning in terms of money and costs of school, your students should think about what they want to major in. What are their long and short-term goals? If their intended major will help them reach those goals, and what schools will best help them reach those goals. Planning will help the student focus on the need and the importance of graduating with little or no debt. It will help you, the parent, know how to use the tax code to redirect money for college. It will also help students find financial aid, work study if they're eligible, and employment to help finance their education. Knowing essential data and figures will help you and your child make informed decisions during this process. Now, be sure you have a copy of the checklist in front of you so you can fill out all the areas of the sections that we cover. Remember to check off the subjects you and your student have already completed, and feel free to add any questions in the notes section. We first need to discuss financial aid and the application process. Regardless of whether or not you think you'll receive aid, you should apply for it anyway. Most colleges use the FAFSA form to determine aid. Now, some private colleges, however, use something called the CS form. Be sure you know what forms you need to complete for the schools your child is applying to. Here are some FAFSA tips I want you to consider. File early to FAFSA because it is first come, first serve. Remember, FAFSA uses prior year tax returns, so if you're applying in 25, you'll use your 23 tax return. And if you have more than 2 children in college at once, it reduces your Household Student Aid Index, or SAI, which boosts your chances of aid. The recent average aid for a student is about $15,400. It's broken down like this: about $10,600 in grants, $3,800 in federal loans, $850 in tax credits, and about $90 in federal work study. You need to be aware of something called the financial aid trap. If your child receives an outside scholarship, colleges might reduce the amount of financial assistance their package and scholarship that they'll get. Believe it or not, attending college can be more of a buyer's market than you would think. Some big admission factors include college prep grades, strength of the high school curriculum, ACT and SAT scores. Most selective schools are now test optional, and you can find out which by the fairtest.org. If the student is showing demonstrated interest, it could be an essential factor. Your student can show high interest by visits, requesting information, and emailing the admissions office. Early decision and early action applications both have early deadlines, hence the name. Requesting an early decision to go to a school, you promise to attend that college if you are accepted. Whereas when applying for early action, it's non-binding. According to a survey done by UCLA, about 78% of students get into their first choice college. Now, once you've applied and been accepted, your student will receive an award letter outlining their financial aid. Unfortunately, these letters can be very confusing. A 2022 study done by the GAO found these award letters can, 41% of them, didn't include the price of the school in the award letter. Only 9% provided the net price. 15% described the parent loans as an award, and in looking at all the letters, the study found that there were 136 different terms for federal student loans. 24 of these terms did not even include the word loan at all. So please read these letters carefully and understand what each of the terms mean. Definitions are important. Grants and scholarships are free money. Yes, loans you must pay back. Qualify for a work-study job, you must complete the FAFSA and check the work-study box. Now, as I mentioned earlier, college can be a buyer's market, and you do have the ability to appeal your financial aid and merit awards, even after the official deposit deadline date of May 1. Keep in mind, when your student is appealing their award, you can share competing offers, but whatever you do, do not use the word negotiate. For whatever reason, financial aid officers don't like that word. It's also essential that you understand the tuition prices of the schools you're evaluating and the aid offers. Keep in mind that 85% of private school students get an institutional price cut, average discount of about 65%, and 72% of students at public schools get a price cut from either the government or the state itself. The average tuition rate for a public in-state school is about $11,200. Public out-of-state, it's about $29,000, and for private schools, it's $41,500. Got to keep in mind that the average cost of housing and food is about $12,700 for public schools and $14,600 for private schools. Books and supplies are going to run about $1,300. Graduation rates are essential to consider. On average, most students don't graduate in less than 4 years, and for many, it takes up to 6. Graduation rates are necessary to know in the planning process because if a majority of the students take 6 years to graduate, believe it or not, you're going to need 6 years of tuition to afford the education. Now, the national graduation rate for a private college 4-year grad is about 8. National graduation rate from a 4-year grad state school is about 45%. Also, keep in mind that roughly 1/3 of students in 4-year either public or private schools transfer to another school. If your student's financial aid package includes loans, you must understand the interest rates for each type of loan. In 2023, about 64% of students graduated with debt. In 2024, federal student loan rates for undergraduate unsubsidized direct loans were 6.5%. Loan rates for graduate and plus loans were about 8%. And roughly 38% of all students will graduate with $25,000 or more in college loan debt. Scholarships and grants are the best aid for students because they don't have to pay it back. Most scholarships are merit-based, which means they were awarded based on proven academic, athletic, or other abilities. When a student is awarded a scholarship, many require maintaining a certain GPA to keep that award. Most grants are awarded based on family's financial situation. Public universities often post their merit award requirements on their website. If you're wondering what a specific college package looks like, you can look it up on the school's profile on the College Board. And lastly, there are tax credits that can make college affordable. You can receive 2 different tax credits. However, you can only get one tax benefit for the same educational expense, including tax-free withdrawals from a 529 savings plan. First, the tax credit you could receive is the American Opportunity Tax Credit. You'll receive up to $2,500 per child per eligible parent for the 4 years. The other you could receive is the Lifetime Learning Tax Credit. With this, you could receive up to $2,000 for any taxpayer for school. Now we'll quickly run through the roadmap for affording college. As we go through the checklist, check if you and your student have already completed these items. If there's something you have a question on, circle it and feel free to reach out to me after the presentation. Consider taking an SAT or ACT prep class. Determine if your Student Aid Index or SAI with the Federal Student Aid Estimator on the Student Federal Aid site. This was previously referred to as the Expected Family Contribution, EFC, so there is some confusion out there. Also, your SAI is the minimum you are expected to pay for 1 year of school. Get an analysis from a financial professional to determine how you'll pay. Build your list of schools. Narrow your list by start visiting schools during your junior year. See if your school requires an interview. Begin your college application essay no later than the summer before your senior year. Also, Common App prompts are released sometime in the spring. Be sure to weigh the pros and cons of early action versus early decision. Be sure to start your FAFSA or CSS profile starting October 1. Check the FAFSA report when they send it. Make a list of all the admissions and financial aid requirements for the schools you're. Compare those award letters. Consider appealing for more financial aid. Remember, whatever you do, don't use the word negotiate. Complete the FAFSA and other aid applications every year your child's in college. Make sure you review your loan options if needed and learn about deferring interest or repayment schedules. Wonderful. Now that you have a picture of some key college funding data, let's schedule a time soon to meet to discuss what we've uncovered during today's video. You can do this by using the link to my calendar in the description section below. And yes, I do keep evening and weekend hours on occasion. If you find this information beneficial, please feel free to like or subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thanks again for joining me today to review the key college funding data. I hope you found this enlightening and motivational. Taking steps now to prepare for your students' college funding will prepare you both for what's ahead. I'm looking forward to connecting with you soon and discussing your checklist.